Okay, hello everybody. I'm going to speak about an experience I had, I don't know, about a year ago or so, maybe a year and a half. The takeaway at the end of it was that when the person dies, I don't know, I didn't get a word on it, so I'm just going on what my impression was, and this part will make sense, I guess, after the story's over. That when a person dies, I don't know if it was while they're awaiting judgment or they're in the lake. I don't know. I didn't get, like I said, I didn't get a word, but that this is what it's going to be like for those people, and hopefully I'm not one of them. And so whenever I find myself kind of faltering, I just try to remember back to this experience and how I really don't want this to ever happen again. So here's what it was. I got sick, whatever. I had a fever, and it spiked really high. I don't know how, I don't have a thermometer, so I couldn't tell you how high it was, but the number's not important. So I got a fever, tried to go to sleep, and just as the night was going on, as the sun went down, it just was getting higher and higher. I could feel myself getting sicker and sicker. And so I'm just lying in bed trying to sleep, and the fever prevented me from going to sleep. But at some point during the night, I was just laying there trying to go to sleep, and my body did go to sleep and my dreams activated, but my waking brain did not shut off. So I was conscious, just as I'm sitting here talking to you now, completely conscious, but couldn't move my body. And the dreams were just happening in front of me. I couldn't stop them, I couldn't control them. They were just happening, fully conscious. And it was, man, it was awful. It was just awful. Uh, I've heard previous to this, I had heard that scientists as such, whatever, have studied dreams, and they say the average dream lasts between like 5 and 10 seconds. Like most dreams are 8 seconds long. And I'm like, that's not true. It's not true at all. Like I have missions, and like I go on like quests and things in my vision, in my dreams. And like they're clearly longer than 8 seconds. Like that doesn't make any sense. But it's true. I can now confirm after this experience that is true. What I didn't read in the story about this is that they repeat. So it's 5 to 10 seconds on average, but then it repeats again, the same 5 to 10 seconds. So let's just say 8 seconds. So you get an 8 second clip, and then that repeats for another 8 seconds. And then that repeats again, the same thing. And it repeats again, and then it repeats again. And then at some point, it switches to a new 8 seconds. Now, it may be a continuation, or it may be a completely different dream, like, but it switches. So it repeats, it repeats, 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 and then at some point it moves. So it either switches to a new dream, or it just continues the same dream progressively for another 8 seconds. And then that repeats, and then that repeats, and then that repeats. So at least me, when I wake up from a normal sleep, I just think I had a dream. But what I really had was 8 second dreams repeating themselves continuously, and then switching to another 8 seconds, repeating continuously. But when your conscious mind is asleep, it doesn't realize that. However, when you have a fever and you can't actually go to sleep, the dream kicks in, the conscious mind is awake, and you're just, you know, what is it? I guess like 7 to 8 times per minute it would repeat. So 8 seconds, 7 times a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 7 hours in a night. And you can't stop it. You can't change it. You know it's coming, and there's nothing you can do about it. And there's also, again, me, I can't speak for everybody. This is just me. When I wake up, I normally have a song going in my head. There's normally, you know, last night it was this old song. I don't know, 50s or 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. Let's go to the hop. I'm sure older people have heard this. Let's go to the hop. Let's go to the hop. And that was just going, and I woke up, and that was just going in my mind. I don't know why. Wasn't thinking about that previously, but it's about an 8 second clip as I realized it this morning, which is why I'm making this video. It really reminded me of it. let's go to the hop, let's go to the hop, oh baby, let's go to the hop. And then it would pause as I'm like, making the bed this morning or just singing what I was singing in my dream. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was the 8 seconds. So like there was a soundtrack. That was the 8 second soundtrack that I woke up to, and that was just going, even though the dream itself had stopped. So back to my fever induced experience here. There were 8 second clips, like a soundtrack underneath these dreams that just would repeat constantly, constantly repeat, unable to stop them, unable to do anything about it, unable to move, unable to wake up. And I tried everything possible. But my waking brain was awake. I'm sorry, my waking brain was awake, my sleeping brain was awake, and my body was asleep. So there was really nothing I could do. I'm just laying there, conscious of how sick I am, conscious of this experience. And as the 8 seconds would wrap up and it would switch to a new dream or just continue on, it would be such a relief, right? Oh, thankfully, I don't have to witness that again, right? Oh, that 8 seconds, that's in the past. I still remember it like vividly, but that's in the past. I got a new thing here. Okay, what's this about? And then that repeats, and then that repeats, and then that repeats. And then eventually the thing that was such a relief, like it was a break. Now this itself is now torture, and I'm waiting for the next break. I'm waiting for the next relief for it to switch again to a new dream. So that lasted an entire night. Sun came up. I woke up as I normally did. For a point there, I thought I was dead, honestly, because can't move. I'm just laying here and crazy stuff's going on. So I thought I was dead, but I did wake up. Clearly, I'm here talking to you. And then, but I didn't feel like I slept at all, right? Because I was just conscious the entire time. So as far as me, my consciousness was concerned, I hadn't slept all night because I didn't. I was awake all night. So as the day wore on, I was just like, man, I really need to get to sleep. Like, this is ridiculous. I've been up for like 48 hours straight. I need to get to sleep. I need to get to sleep. And then the sun starts going down and the fever spikes. And I'm like, uh-oh, I don't want to go to sleep. Wait a minute. What if that happens again? And it did. So he gave me a second witness on this. And the same thing happened again the second night. The fever spiked. The conscious brain stayed awake. And 8 seconds, 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 with a soundtrack repeating on loop underneath it. Something as annoying as let's go to the hop, let's go to the hop, let's go to the hop, oh baby, let's go to the hop. Right? Something, a short clip like that, repeating it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then it would switch, and then that would just repeat over and 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 over again for the 7 hours or so. And then I woke up, and it reminded me of the verse in Deuteronomy. I have it pulled up here. Deuteronomy 28:67. In the morning you shall say, would God it were even, and at the even you shall say, would God it were morning. And that is exactly what happened to me. I woke up, and as the day went on, I'm like, man, I need to go to sleep. I'm so exhausted. I can't wait for the evening to come. And then as soon as the evening comes, I remember that the dreams are going to be torture. And I'm like, oh, it needs to be morning. I got to wake. I got to get up. This got to stop. This dreaming needs to stop. When is morning going to come? When is morning going to come? Morning comes and I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm so exhausted. I need to go to sleep. I'm so tired. I'm just not with it at all today. It's 72 hours now. I haven't had a break, a mental break at all. I need to go to sleep. And then the evening comes and I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to sleep. I don't want to go to sleep. And so thankfully the third evening when it did come, the fever went up a little bit, but not as much. I was able to actually get to sleep, shut off the waking brain, and I haven't had that since. But the strong impression that, kind of meditating on this, praying on this experience, was that this is what it's going to be like for those that die in their sins, however that looks. I don't have specifics, but for those, yeah, it's not going to be pleasant. So death has described as sleep a lot in the scriptures, and the overall opinion is that just means like, oh, you're unconscious. But no, sleep is full of dreams, right? Like, so if it's being described as sleep, then it would just make sense that there's dreams involved with this sleep. And if a person has a conscious mind while the dreams are occurring, that is torture, especially if they're not going to wake up in 7 hours and it takes them however long to wake up, 1,000 years, 100 years, who knows? That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. So I'm just sharing this for if anyone, this may help them to stop sinning. Like I said, I still do clearly, but when I when I realize that I'm doing it, I just kind of remember this experience and try to like take myself back to how torturous that was, just going through these dreams and not being able to change them or stop them and just repeat, repeat, repeat. And it tries to it helps me put into perspective like, oh, is this little sin worth it? Like, is going through years, days, weeks, months, decades of that, is that worth it for this little dumb sin that you're doing? So yeah, hopefully this is beneficial for somebody that they're out there hearing this. I know without going through it and experiencing it, it's all kind of abstract, and you're like, oh yeah, that kind of would suck. It definitely sucks. 2 nights was enough, and I had a day in between, and I was like, I don't want to go to sleep night three. Like I don't want to go to sleep. I don't want to go to sleep, and then I thankfully did with like full sleep. But yeah, without that waking bit in between, and man, that's not going to be pleasant. So obey, obey. We don't want to end up there. That's not a place that we want to be. Wherever that is, even if it's just in our mind and it's not a physical place, and it's not a physical lake, and it's not a physical fire, because I wasn't on fire physically, like, but you could say I had a fever. So yeah, technically I was, right? I guess I was on fire, even though like I didn't burn and consume, but my temperature was raised past a certain point and it prevented me from sleeping, but I still dreamt. And it just was terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Man, that was awful. So yeah, hopefully no one ever has to experience that in this life or the next, or the in-between one, or whatever it is. Hopefully no one has to experience that. So obey, submit yourselves to the master. Uh, just accept Jesus Christ as your Messiah. Pray to God Almighty and just follow what he says, live the way he wants us to live, and he won't have to chastise us for our transgressions. So thank you.